war in Ukraine has been marked by countless clashes, each one leaving a scar on the land and a memory in history. From the rubble of shattered cities to the silent fields littered with the remains of armored vehicles, every battle tells its own story. But among these stories, few moments have been as sudden, decisive, and devastating as the strike carried out by Ukraine's Azov Brigade. In a matter of seconds, an entire Russian unit was wiped out, erased almost instantly from the fight. This was not a random accident of war. It was not the result of luck or coincidence. Instead, it was the product of careful preparation, intelligence gathering, and the precise application of modern weaponry. For the Azov Brigade, this strike was more than a tactical maneuver. It was an act of retaliation, a demonstration that Ukraine would not only defend its soil, but also strike back with accuracy, efficiency, and devastating effect. To understand the importance of this moment, we must first look at the broader context. Since the beginning of Russia's invasion in 2022, Ukraine has faced a larger enemy with greater numbers of tanks, artillery, and aircraft. But time and again, Ukraine has countered with ingenuity, mobility, and the effective use of modern weapons provided by its allies. In this environment, the Azov Brigade has emerged as one of the most battle-hardened and determined units of the Ukrainian armed forces. Their reputation is one of resilience, discipline, and an unyielding will to fight, even in the most difficult circumstances. In the days leading up to the strike, Ukrainian reconnaissance drones tracked the movements of a Russian resupply convoy. Trucks carried ammunition, fuel, and supplies. Armored vehicles provided escort. Soldiers traveled alongside, believing they were safe. To the naked eye, this was just another routine military column, one of many moving across contested territory. But through intercepted communications and satellite data, Ukrainian intelligence realized something critical. This particular convoy was not ordinary. It was a vital supply link, feeding Russian units engaged in ongoing offensive operations. If destroyed, Russia's ability to maintain pressure in that sector would be crippled. The Azov Brigade prepared meticulously. Reconnaissance teams mapped the convoy's route. Drone operators relayed live video to forward command posts. Artillery units, including precision rocket systems like HIMARS, were quietly moved into position. Timing was everything. Strike too early and the convoy might scatter. Strike too late and the opportunity might be lost. Every decision carried weight, for one wrong move could mean failure. In many ways, it was a modern reflection of ancient battlefield principles: patience, discipline, and the element of surprise. Finally, the moment arrived. At dawn, the Russian unit halted near a wooded area, pausing to rest. Engines idled, soldiers stretched, and the column appeared safe in its temporary position. But overhead, unseen, Ukrainian drones hovered in silence. Coordinates were locked. The order was given. Then, in an instant, the battlefield erupted. HIMARS rockets streaked across the sky, their trails glowing against the morning light. Within seconds, the first explosions tore into the convoy. Ammunition trucks detonated with thunderous force, sending fireballs into the sky. Armored vehicles were ripped apart. The ground shook with the violence of the blasts. Russian soldiers had no time to react. The strike was over almost as soon as it began. What followed was chaos and silence. Drone footage captured the devastation. Burning wreckage scattered across the field, smoke rising high above the tree line, and secondary explosions continuing as ammunition cooked off. Communications among Russian units went dark. For all intents and purposes, the convoy had ceased to exist. A unit that had taken days to assemble was erased in less than a minute. But the significance of this event extends beyond the battlefield. For Ukraine, the strike represented more than destruction. It was psychological warfare, sending a clear message that no unit, no matter how well armed or protected, was beyond Ukraine's reach. For Russia, it was a humiliation, another reminder that its forces were vulnerable even in areas they believed secure. Morale is often as important as material, and the blow to Russian confidence was just as critical as the physical losses. This event also illustrates a larger lesson of modern warfare. In World War II, the Allies gained an advantage by breaking enemy codes and mastering radar technology. In the Gulf War of 1991, precision-guided bombs reshaped the very idea of air power. Today, it is drones, satellites, and precision-guided rockets that tilt the balance of power. Information is as valuable as bullets, and the ability to combine intelligence with advanced weaponry can reshape the battlefield in an instant. News of the strike spread quickly across Ukraine and beyond. Ukrainian media celebrated it as a symbol of strength and resilience, hailing the Azov Brigade's precision as a turning point in the ongoing struggle. Western allies pointed to it as undeniable proof that modern weapons like HIMARS were not just symbolic gifts for morale, but decisive tools capable of changing the tide of battle. Meanwhile, Russian state outlets attempted to downplay the losses, labeling them as minor and insignificant. Yet independent military analysts painted a different picture. This was far more than a convoy destroyed. It was a critical blow to Russia's supply lines and a direct disruption to its operational capabilities in the region. Once again, logistics, the very lifeblood of any army, proved to be the Achilles heel of a larger, seemingly stronger force. The phrase, "wiped out in seconds," may sound dramatic, but in this case, it is almost literal. In a matter of moments, an entire Russian unit ceased to exist, erased in a storm of fire and steel. But the deeper lesson lies not simply in the destruction itself, but in what it represents. This moment signals the arrival of a new era of warfare, one where intelligence, precision, and adaptability can rival, and even overcome, sheer numbers. It is a reminder that determination, paired with modern technology, can level the playing field between a smaller nation fighting for survival and a larger invader wielding overwhelming mass. The Azov Brigade's strike will be remembered not only for the immediate destruction it caused, but also for the message it delivered. Ukraine is not merely holding on, it is striking back, adapting with every battle and shaping the very future of this war. Each successful operation sends a signal to Russia, to the world, and to history itself, that Ukraine refuses to be defined by victimhood and instead embraces the role of a force rewriting the rules of modern conflict. Thank you for joining us here at Delta History. If you found this analysis insightful, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Because history is not only written in books, it is unfolding right now, in moments like these, on the battlefields of Ukraine. And as long as this war continues, every strike, every battle, and every act of resistance adds another chapter to a story the world will never forget.